Hey, gods and goddesses, March Horoscopes 2026. Let's all hold hands and happily march our asses right into March. This year is moving by so freaking fast, but March is a pivotal month for us. We are in eclipse season. I mean, we can't deny the energy that awaits us. You know, we have a lunar eclipse in Virgo, which is this eclipse really talks about our practical choices and emotional awareness and energetic awareness. And so this month is really about that. We have a big shift from the energy of Pisces into Aries, so there's a very pivotal moment this month for us all. Pisces energy, Mars is going to start off in Pisces, right? And it's cutting through anything that has to do with our subconscious, these karmic decisions or these karmic patterns. It has to do with severing the emotional world from the physical world. Like, we must be aware of what's happening in our physical reality, and we must be aware about what's draining us. We must be aware about the conversations that we're having. Mercury is also going to go retrograde this month. Well, it is going to be in retrograde, and it's going to come out of retrograde or go direct at the end of March. And so Mercury is going to be the ruler of this eclipse. And so there's a lot of weight, long-term weight that has been carried, conversations that are going to intensify and really must be had in order to bring some type of closure. When Mars and Mercury align, and even there's going to be a new moon in Pisces at a very late degree. So this is a major chapter that is closing, but one that is also starting. Things that we must let go of when we're dealing with the sign of Pisces. When the sun goes into Aries, we know that Saturn just went into Aries, Neptune is going to Aries, and all these planets following Venus and things of that nature. This energy is going to shift from being very reflective, right? We're talking about Pisces, to this internal, bold, forward movement, type of energy. Remember that we are in the year of the horse, so things are trying to move forward, move fast. But remember, Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, these are planets that do not want you to be impulsive. They want you to have intentional intentions going forward. You must know what you want. Even if you don't know what you want, you must work on what you think that you want, and other doors and opportunities will open up for you. There's going to be a lot of conjunctions, with Neptune and Saturn in the sign of Aries. And so these are trying to ground your vision into reality. Even when Venus goes into Aries, this is testing relationships, testing your self-worth, trying to really stabilize you, with clarity. And March is starting with this release, right? And it ends up with you having better direction, better momentum, and a new grounded, new beginning. We're talking about really deep waters at the beginning of the month with emotional, intuitive. It almost feels very dreamlike. That is because there's a sense that something is rearranging itself behind the scenes. Something must happen internally in order for you to see it externally. This energy with Virgo, it doesn't create chaos, right? Virgo is not a chaotic sign. It is more about clarity. It's more about whatever is not efficient or draining your time, your energy, and you're just draining you. Something must be done about it. It's not really dramatic, but it's definitely undeniable. There's a point where we must stop reacting and we must start realizing, right? This is a moment in March, or there's very much moments in March and even the next 6 months after, where you'll start to shift your whole storyline, right? The energy is going to definitely flip for us, and you're not going to be asking yourself, this question anymore, like, what am I feeling? How am I feeling? It's more so, what am I going to do about the way that I'm feeling? You have to put in physical activity. And what I'm saying is, like, you actually have to physically do things in order to move yourself into the next phase of yourself. This is evolution, right? And it's also a transitional type of energy when we're talking about Virgo. There's a spiritual chapter within you that's going to close, a chapter within you that's going to close, and you are going to write a new one for yourself very deliberately, I think very boldly, and you are now awake. So let's get started. Hey Aries, what a lot of big changes in your life ahead. And I hope you're ready for them. And this is your Saturn return, like the true beginning of your Saturn return. So don't be scared. As someone who just went through their Saturn return and is still going to go through their Saturn return because I have a late degree Pisces, for the next 8 years, it feels like I'm going to be going up a lot with you. So do not fear Saturn though. This is something that you actually want to happen in your life, putting boundaries, all types of new beginnings for you. And I feel like you're actually blessed and lucky to have Neptune there as well, because you are now upgrading into a version of yourself that you have never seen before. Something that you're going to be so proud of, and that's really aligned to your path here. So March is very internal for you. Of course, we're dealing with Pisces energy, which is your 12th house. And there's a lunar eclipse that is going to happen in your 6th house. So there's going to be a daily structure that's going to collapse for you, a health pattern that reaches its breaking point. You cannot keep running on adrenaline, and something about how you serve others is going to change. This eclipse is bringing more uh efficiency into your life. It's bringing more boundaries. It's actually going to demand boundaries from you now. Aries, boundaries. You might as well just keep people at a distance, because you are rising and you cannot have anything or anyone hold you down, especially with Pluto in working through your 11th house. But Mars is going to enter into Pisces, and this is going to be your natal 12th house. So this is your ruling planet, right? And it's moving through the most hidden part of your chart. And so anger is going to turn inwards, and you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel very reflective. You're going to feel a little foggy. But remember that these things are not weaknesses. This is your subconscious trying to clear itself. Mars in the 12th is trying to really cut through. It's really trying to open that drain and let the water out. When it comes to self-sabotaging behaviors, that must be ended. And even Mars is going to conjunct the North Node at some point, and so that really brings a faded endings in things that you are addicted to, things that keep your health low, and things that you feel like you can't let go of. I feel like you will be able to let go of. You will have enough strength to let go of something that is just draining and it's no longer good for you, and internally, but it's pretty hard to let go externally. So there can be private realizations, right? Maybe you need some type of help or therapy. Maybe secrets are revealed, and it kind of it's like I really can't stand like people like telling our secrets, but sometimes they have to tell, like, things have to come to light in order for them to be dealt with. And I feel like that's a realization, or that's something that's going to happen over the next couple of months, right? There's going to be a new moon in Pisces. But like I said, even though we can say like we hate when people do stuff, we ultimately have to make ourselves better. So it's not really about the other person or how the message is delivered, as long as we got it and we start our spiritual rebirth. And so you're going to be shedding this hidden identity that you have, and then everything is going to shift for you. Venus is going to be in your sign, and it's going to conjunct Neptune and Saturn and Chiron and at some point, right? And so you're redefining how you love yourself, how you feel about yourself, your self-worth, how you show up in relationships. Neptune is bringing the idealism. Saturn is bringing the maturity. Not Neptune, sorry, Chiron is going to bring this vulnerability as well. You wanting to do something different with yourself. Like, you are becoming more honest about who you are and what you attract. And I think that that's beautiful. I think that you're really going to learn to value that about yourself and love that about yourself. And it's going to help you be able to put up those boundaries with other people. The sun is going to enter into your sign. So happy solar return to my March Aries. And Aries, like, this, when the sun is entering into your sign and it's going to conjunct Neptune at some point, you're stepping into your leadership and you are taking responsibility for where your life is going. I think that you're now finding the authority within yourself, within your voice, and you're going to stand upon it no matter how long it takes, no matter how other people feel about it. I think that you're going to have this sense of maturity about yourself where you do not really worry about what everyone else is doing. You start to worry about what can you do based on your own accountability with yourself. Jupiter is going to go direct in your natal fourth house, and so um the healing within your family can finally resume. I feel like you have learned a lot over these couple of months as Jupiter has been in retrograde. Like, it's coming back with a lot of information, a lot of mental clarity, a lot of emotional clarity, a lot of emotional clarity. And emotional safety is going to increase so much, within Cancer, because remember, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. You're going to feel so much better about yourself, who you are becoming, about your family, about where you come from. And by the end of March, you're gonna feel so much lighter. I think by the end of like all the effects that these transits are going to bring, you feel more self-contained, you feel clearer, you feel happier, you feel so much lighter. Emotions, they freaking weigh us down, like especially with the lunar eclipse that's happening in your sixth house. I think you're gonna see how emotions really can bring you down, and physically removing it from your body, whether it's exercise, whether it's energetic activities that you get into, getting into nature, planting something, worrying about plants, whatever you have to do that is so-called a spiritual practice, it's going to release these energetics that you're holding within your body. And you're going to feel so much lighter and clearer and honestly happier. You're going to feel definitely stronger. There may be a sense about you that fears the future, but this is only because it's going to take some time to get the things that you want. But remember, you can be who you want to be today, and that's what you really have to do during this time, Aries. So yes, that's all I have for you, Aries. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And happy solar return, happy birthday, happy days, and happy ways, Aries. You are bold as fuck, and this is your time to really show up as yourself and really lead us into the right direction, Aries. You have Neptune in your sign. Like, please be the dream that other people dream of. Like, become the dream that other people dream of. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye, Aries. What's up, Taurus? So, Taurus, March 2026 horoscopes. This month is going to change who you are creating life with. What are you creating? And you're also going to have this lunar eclipse in your natal fifth house. So, there's going to be truths that come to fruition. It could be about romance, it could be about a creative project that culminates for you. If you've been pouring your energy into something or someone that isn't aligned, clarity is definitely going to arrive for you. This can bring pregnancy themes. This can bring, intensity around your social life, because Mars is going to enter into your 11th house. So, like your fifth house, there's, a lot going on. This has to do with expression, creative joy. And, this lunar eclipse is bringing that to a combination. What is it you truly want? What do you want to create? Who do you want in your life? And and people who we string along, who we do not actually want or we do not actually like, or that is not aligned for us, and we kind of know it because you have a very keen intuition during this time, or during the next couple of years you're going to be taught that your intuition is always right. Like, it's always leading you in the right direction, especially with Neptune gonna is sitting in your 12th house. So, with Mars entering into the 11th, friendships are going to feel faded, but Mars is going to conjunct the North Node at some point. And this is bringing destiny through community, meeting someone, having a conversation with someone, even if it's an argument with someone, there's something that brings clarity to you, to your mind, to the direction that you want to go in life, to your dreams. And something can feel very familiar too, with this, with these two points joining together, Mars and the Neptune. And so be very careful with, like, okay, Mercury is actually going to conjunct Mars as well. And remember, Mercury is going to be in retrograde, um, you know, until the 20th of March. And so be careful what the words that you use, or words that you use within group settings. As I said, it could be arguments that really bring up some type of awareness or realization. There's going to be a new moon in your 11th house as well. And so you're stepping into a more aligned audience, more aligned goals, for yourself for the long term. And I feel like you have more vision too with this new moon, more ways to use your imagination as well. Venus is going to enter into your 12th house of Aries, and you're healing privately. Healing always happens within the 12th house, especially with Venus. She's healing your relationships. She's healing your sense of self, your sense of vulnerability, even your subconscious mind. So I do think that love, if love is like behind the scenes, and if love is like, I won't say love is like behind the scenes, but if you're like in a secret affair or something like that, or someone doesn't want you to know that they're dating you, or you don't want someone else to know, I think that there's clarity that is happening, or healing that is happening behind that, and you start to question whether you deserve that or not. Remember, Venus in Aries wants to be put first, and so Neptune is going to bring a fantasy type of veil, into the 12th house, and Saturn is going to demand boundaries, and Chiron, there's going to be a conjunction with Chiron as well. And so Chiron is going to expose these old wounds around sacrifice, around sacrificing yourself for someone else. Jupiter is going to go direct in your natal third house, and third house has to do with communication, has to do with the mind, writing, contacts, our aunts and uncles, our close environment, or things that we commute to, like cars and trains. And so these things are going to expand again, where you can start to travel a little bit more for some type of reason, back and forth, whether it's a short commute here and there. It could be to see your children, it could be to see your mother, but this trip is going to really teach you a lot. And I feel like Neptune is coming, I mean, not Neptune, but Jupiter is coming back with so much clarity into your mind, towards, so much learned, wisdom from your own experiences. Venus is going to enter into your sign, which is your ruler, towards the end of the month, beginning of next month, and you're going to feel very embodied again, right? Very grounded, very magnetic. Mars is clearing away any distractions, so your creativity can feel very sacred again. And Venus in your sign brings a lot of creativity, a lot of what do you call it, like uh natural, it's like native energy comes back to you, because Venus is very comfortable and happy in your sign, very happy in your first house, so you're looking very good. She's bringing this beautiful essence to your aura, so really take advantage of those things, Taurus. So yeah, that's all I have for you, Taurus. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Taurus. Hey Gemini, what's up? So March horoscope 2026. So your ruler is involved in this eclipse this month, and this lunar eclipse in Virgo in your natal fourth house. And so family karma can surface. There can be a move or renovation. There can be an emotional truth about your childhood, even about your children that comes to the light. Something that's foundational ends. So there's a healthier and more clearer base for you to stand upon. And these things can help you feel more uh, firm in this life, more stable, within your own being, or even within your own home. This month feels very structural, in my opinion. There's Mars in the 10th house for you in Pisces, and so you're going to be very driven towards something, that's going to intensify. You're going to want recognition for something. Mars is going to conjunct the North Node in North Node is about destiny, and this is your public life. So try to avoid because with Mars up there, it can start arguments, it can start like, this is mine, this is what I deserve, so really start to avoid unnecessary conflict with authority. You don't need to argue your worth. I think that you're worth a lot more than you think. You don't, of course, definitely stand upon, stand up, have boundaries, stand up for yourself, don't be a mat, but do not argue unnecessarily with authority figures, because sometimes they're very annoying, where they're like, I'm the boss. It's really not that serious. Like, you own things that are not really even yours. Nothing is ours in this reality. But people want to say, I am this, really we are just cosmic beings. That is all that we can really say that we are. Or we can say we're everything and nothing at all. But anyways, the sun is going to conjunct Mercury in Pisces. And so there can be very important in conversations that have to do with your career, that have to do with your life direction, that have to do with where you're headed, that can have to do with your father. It can have to do with masculine figures, your sisters, your brother, friends. These are important conversations that are coming. Be very mindful about that. Mercury, your ruler, is going to be in retrograde for the first half of the month, and it's going direct on the 20th, I believe. And when that happens, there's going to be clarity that is returning to you, that can have to do with professionally. You're ready to have these conversations with other people, with authority figures, with your brothers and sisters, with friends, even any conversations you're ready to have with other people. And so there's actually going to be a new moon as well in your natal 10th house, and so you're going to run and rebrand yourself, want to rebrand where you're going. I think that you're having more inspiration, more imagination when it comes to the life that you could have, what you could be, what you could move towards. Venus is going to be in Aries in your 11th house, bringing very powerful alliances to you, more opportunities to your front door as well, Gemini. Saturn is there as well, and it's going to be filtering um you know any type of superficial connection that you may have, anything fake and fucking shallow, and people just around. Saturn is going to really look at that and have you put up boundaries to move those people out of the way. It's time for them to get out of the way, because Neptune is in there as well, and it can bring up these very faded partnerships. But then it sometimes people want to drag us down with them, and they want to say that they are friends, and so you have to be very careful about those things. I think Saturn and Neptune starting off really makes you aware of that in the beginning, so that way when Saturn is moving from that sign, you have more awareness of what is for you and what's not for you, and it no longer brings you fear, or no longer brings you feeling like you're limited because of other people's decisions. You're able to move around that because you have put up boundaries over this time. Jupiter is going direct in your natal second house. And I know by Jupiter being your second house, you had to have increased your income. You had to have increased money that it was coming in from your own sense of self, from your own self-worth, from your purse, your bag, no, your bag, oh my goodness, I mean your wallet, the money that you hold like on a day-to-day basis, like your accounts. You have had an increase with Jupiter being in your second house, unless you have like harsh aspects, or I would say when Jupiter went over your degree, your natal degree of, I mean, it could be your natal degree of Jupiter in a different house, or if you have Jupiter, there's some way, shape, or form that something has increased for you, or something has expanded in some type of way for you. It can be self worth, in order, hey, I can do more, I can make more money, I have this greater sense of self, I think that when it goes direct, income is going to improve, a lot more, because it's been in retrograde for months now, and you are restructuring your sense of longevity, your public identity, where you're headed in life. You're really expanding the way that you see yourself in order for other things in your life to expand, Gemini. I think that's the way that you do want to go. Be very strategic with how you allow your emotions to run your life, just because of this lunar eclipse. You cannot really fix your emotions, and you can't outthink your emotions, Gemini. You actually have to feel them, move them, acknowledge them, and then be able to move past them. Put in real daily activity or real things in your house, or kick out people, like move away if you have to regenerate if you need to, but really clear out things that are no longer going to um bring you joy. And so yeah, that's all I have for you, Gemini. And not even bring you joy, that's going, like, it needs to move you forward in some type of way, and some things hold us back. So yeah, Gemini, that's all that I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Gemini. Hey there, Cancer. Cancer. I started a video and I wasn't even ready. Hold on. Let me just bring up this chart. So, okay, Cancer, Cancer, Cancer. How has it been with Jupiter in your sign? Jupiter is going direct this month. Freaking finally, right? Like, bring on the blessings, right? Bring on the blessings. Jupiter is exalted in your sign and loves Cancer. So there's so many ways that your life could have went, but I'm just going to say that your life has expanded in some type of way, and you need to be very proud of yourself, very proud of yourself, very confident within yourself now. And this month is where expansion is going to meet this emotional maturity. There's going to be a lunar eclipse in your natal third house, and so something is going to end within this house. It can shift, a conversation can be had. Mercury is going to be in retrograde and it's going direct at the end of the month, so there can be conversations with your siblings, dynamics that are going to evolve or dissolve really, but there is some type of talking that is going to happen, especially within the third house, some type of fixing that is going to happen before it just wants to end. Truth is going to become unavoidable, especially when we have something within the third house. I think you're going to realize a lot more, especially with Mercury being the ruler of this eclipse. The ninth house is being activated because Mars is going to enter into Pisces. This here, you have spiritual ambition, you crave growth, you crave connection to your higher self, to a higher life purpose. You're craving something greater than life at this point. Mars is going to conjunct the node, and this can bring up travel. The north node in the ninth house. You have definitely met someone that can be a teacher, someone entering into your life, someone you carry a lot of respect for, but the respect that they had the ambition to go out and get what they want, something that inspires you to be greater. This can be someone teaching you something. You could have written something, you could have went and got some type of higher education. You really wanted to bring your life to a different level. Mercury is going to conjunct Mars, and these are bold statements, right? Mercury conjuncting Mars. You have to speak intentionally. You have to move with intention. Move with the right clear mind. I think Mercury conjuncting Mars is honestly a very powerful aspect when it comes to us charging forward in order to get the things that we want. We are in the year of the horse, right? And so you have more confidence, more oomph, like in your step. You're moving. There's also going to be a new moon in your ninth house, and so there's a new belief system that is emerging. There's a new goal that you're setting for yourself. There's a new place that you're traveling to. There's a new spiritual exploration going on. There's a higher dimension that you belong to, and you're going to strive towards those things, Cancer. Venus is going to enter into Aries, which is your 10th house, and so this is where your visibility is going to increase. Venus brings this beauty to everything that she touches, and or she can bring jealousy, right? She can bring rivalry in some type of way, but ultimately she's trying to bring togetherness. She's trying to bring she's trying to bring things together. And so Neptune also is going to be in Aries as well as Saturn, so at some point she's going to conjunct this, and you could really want to strive towards this dream role that you have for yourself in life. Saturn in the 10th house is going to demand that you have proof of commitment. Are you committed to this? And I think that you will be very committed to this, Cancer. Like I said, Jupiter is in your first house as well, and so your appearance is going to expand. Your confidence is returning to you when it goes direct, and you are becoming more emotionally sovereign, or emotionally instead of emotionally dependent on anyone. Especially with this eclipse, I think that it's bringing so much clarity to your mind, and that you're able to move with more intention. Even when as Saturn is moving, Saturn moving into your 10th house, I think that you have this crave for growth that you're willing to work towards. You're willing to plant the seeds in order to get these things done. I think, in the next couple of years, with all the wisdom that you have gathered and that you have dwelled in, Cancer, I would say within the next couple of years, you will be in a completely different place, one that is of your doing. You have to do this and you have to move towards this. This is not anything that's going to be given to you, but everything that is opportunities that are designed to get you where you need to be, Cancer. Like, don't miss these opportunities. They're going to come to you, and you're going to have to use your discernment, use your intuition, and see, hey, is this going to work for me or not? And you have to do it you have to have conversations with your higher self. What is it that you truly want, and not what is just easiest to get, right? Because Jupiter could bring like wanting to move quickly, like I just need to jump on this, I have to experience life. You really want to have more clarity and more attention about what you're doing and where you're going, because you're gonna get there, but where is there? And you have to determine that, Cancer. So yeah, that's all I have, and I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, Cancer. Hey Leo. So Leo, there's going to be a lunar eclipse this month, and a lot of other things happening. But I guess let's just start off with what you will be experiencing. This can be a little bit intense. Mars is going to be in Pisces, which is your eighth house, and uh your energy is going to turn inward, and it's going to feel very, very deep. Mars here is going to activate shared resources, finances, intimacy, emotional depth. And then Mars is going to conjunct the Neptune. I mean, not Neptune, excuse me. Mars is going to conjunct the North Node. And this can feel very karmic. It can feel like you must trust in something that you cannot see. Even if you fear something, you still have to trust that it's going to work out. Like, you are meant to face a fear around dependency, around public power exchange, and like emotional exposure. I think you're going to feel very exposed this month, within your own power, within your own vulnerability. You are going to be prompted into a psychological rebirth, and this can feel very intense. There's going to be a lunar eclipse in your natal second house, and so you are clearing things out that it's not that this is not for you. you know Lunar eclipses, even, in the sign of Virgo, this is very strategic. I think that if you have been like overextending yourself, if you are like undervaluing your own talents, this eclipse is going to expose it. It's going to demand precision. That is Virgo, precision. And you are going to have to restructure your value system. The second house has to do with the money that's in your wallet. It has to do with, your bank account, your debit cards. And so incomes or your spending habits, these become a part of your reality, right? And even self-worth patterns are seen in the second house, and something is going to reach a completion in order for you to transform, or I not transform, I would say transition into something else. These things, a financial reality is definitely going to be undeniable. Even, you holding yourself back can be pretty come it's going to be undeniable. If you've been undervaluing yourself, that's undeniable. It's really going to come into your face, Leo. And you have to have these hard conversations with yourself, and someone is going to trigger you. Something can trigger this lesson, and that's why I feel like it feels a little bit aggravating, right? It feels a little aggravating because someone else can trigger this for you, and it can be someone that you share money with. It could be a father figure, a masculine figure, something that you don't want to hear from. Like, I'll just be honest, you don't want to hear anything like this from. Mercury is going to conjunct Mars in Pisces, and so hard conversations can be had. Mercury is going to be in retrograde until the 20th of the month, when Mercury goes direct, but it's going to conjunct Mars. And something that you've been avoiding saying, it gets said. There can be conversations around intimacy, around money, around things that need clarity. And after, Mercury goes direct, of course you're going to have more clarity about what needs to be said and what not needs to be said ever again. And so, or having these, hard conversations. So there's going to be a new moon as well at a late degree in Pisces in your 8th house. And so this is resetting your emotional attachments. You may pay off a debt. You can, end a financial role or financial obligation, or even like this financial tie. You can sever a traumatic bond, right? You can sever a karmic bond. You are releasing a trauma bond as well. And there is, a chapter, if this doesn't apply to you, there can be a chapter where you are becoming more deeply intimate with someone else, but in a conscious way. You are transforming the way that you show up with other people, or even your own, psychological rebirth that you're having this month. It can really open the lines of how you are merging and allowing yourself to be vulnerable with the next person. Venus is going to be entering into Aries in your natal 9th house. And so love is the answer. Love is the answer to everything, right? Love is the highest vibration. We can do anything when we're in love, when we feel inspired by love. Love is so powerful, but the love for self is even more powerful, and that is Venus in Aries. And so your worldview is going to expand, I think, for the love that you have for yourself, right? And the love that you feel that you have to give, even so, even that you romanticize with. Neptune is definitely bringing this idealism. I think that it makes the love even more spiritual and real, and it makes it even more um brings more to life. Like, you have more imagination. But Saturn is gonna ask you, like, is this grounded? Is this real? Like, what are we saying? Kind of, what are we saying? Are we just in fear of losing this inspiration, and so we're just dramatically saying that we love this or we love this person? Do we actually love ourselves in order to move our life forward, in order to feel like the experiences that you have had in life, Leo? Does it make you love yourself? It should, right? Because, even Chiron is in the 9th house as well. And this is going to touch on a wound behind belief, behind truth, behind the faith that you actually have in love. Is love really the answer? It is, but the love for self is the answer, not the love for the thing, not the love for, hey, I love Jamaica. I love the way that I feel when I'm in, Bali. No, like, you have to love the way that you are right now and take your love there and expand it. And so Jupiter is going to go direct into the 12th house. So Jupiter in your 12th house, you have had a lot of spiritual projection during this time, a lot of spiritual insights. These things are going to increase for you. Now, as you're starting to awaken different parts of yourself, Leo, there can be private blessings that are trying to unfold for you when Jupiter goes direct. And these hidden blessings just come to you. And I think that it's so sweet. In a way, it's very sweet. I think it's very close to home. I think that it's very, nice to get past certain things that have held you up when I keep saying Mercury, when Jupiter was not direct. Having you deal with all of these problems by yourself, and now it feels like you have something stronger within you in order to you have embodied something stronger in order to uh, um, cancel out any type of subconscious patterns that you have had, any type of pain and misery that you have gone through. You have the tools to really get over them, or you have the realization and the wisdom um, to have it still hurt, and you do it anyway. You do something anyway. Venus is going to enter into your 10th house at some point, and so stability wants to return in the life direction that you're going. I think you're very focused on how can you plant the seeds in order for things in your life to increase, whether it's like this magnet, because Venus becomes like the magnet in the um 10th house, and so that can increase for you. You can uh, meet the right people. You can be more uh, be more visible in some type of way. You know, March is going to teach you that true strength, it does include vulnerability, and that power becomes deeper and less performative and more sacred and more sovereign for you when it's something that you, I won't say believe in, you have to know within yourself. More than believing yourself, Leo, you have to know within yourself. And so yes, that's all I have for you, Leo. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, subscribe please, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, Leo. Virgo, 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 Virgo. Hey Virgo, so what's up? How are you guys doing? We're going to be having a lunar eclipse in your sign. And so, yeah, your whole physical appearance can change during this time. You know, your behavior can change during this time. Something that you uh, a way that you present yourself is definitely going to change. You cannot continue something. I think you're stepping into a more defined version of yourself. So this is personal. Like the glow up is personal. This is your eclipse. You are shedding something about yourself. You know, whether, you know, because of 11th house, I mean, excuse me, I'm going to the 11th, but I mean the first house. It has to do with this rebirth. It also has to do with the relationship that we have to others, because it opposes the 7th house. I think that you're shedding this version of yourself to become a more powerful version of yourself. Enough fixing yourself, enough fixing others. Others can't be fixed. They may have potential, but how can you actually fix them, you know, without giving more of yourself and more and more and more, because you see the potential in others, Virgo. I'm very happy for this eclipse for you, because I do think that the self defined version of you, like when you start putting that energy into yourself, Virgo, like, oh my goodness, the glow up within you is so undeniable. And I always say, when a Virgo is in your life will transform. You should be fucking grateful to have a Virgo in your life, because your life gets better, everything around you gets better. Your skin, your body, your mind, your spirit, your emotional body, everything about you enhances. So you have to, when you think about you putting that into yourself, Virgo, like what? Like you are truly an undeniable source of wisdom, of beauty, you know, of just natural, the natural essence that we have in life. It's like watering a plant, and it's growing into this beautiful a masterpiece. Like you are a masterpiece that just has to master the piece in itself, that wants to give to everyone else. You are sacredly serving yourself, and once you start to do that, Virgo, I'm making a really big fuss about this, because once you start to realize, when you do this for yourself, how undeniably magnetic you'll be, and you'll have to even fight off more vampires from wanting to have a place next to you. Like you'll start to really realize, like, damn, I'm really that person. Like this world is better. Like this world actually needs me. Without me, I think that this world would literally drown in its own theatrics. Like you keep order to things that other people have just let die. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't let anything die, Virgo. Like no one's dying around you, Virgo. Like no one is dying around you. No one is going into mental, crisis around you. Like you are truly so needed. And this eclipse is really bringing that to the light. It's telling you have to let go of the trying to fix others, and more so look at yourself in the mirror, so that you can understand that without you, they would truly, like, they would be under a rock. Like they wouldn't even really exist. They only exist because you put energy into it. And I'm just getting off track now, but this is truly what you're going to feel like, or you should try to embody during this time, Virgo, right? Mars is going to enter into your 7th house, and so partnerships, they become very intense. Mars is going to conjunct the North Node, and this is this karmic relational energy. And so you may meet someone that is faded. You may confront these unresolved tension, or you finally address the imbalance. And like I've been chatting about, like you are starting to see that without your engagement, things are just not even worth your time, or they're not really worthy of what they could be worthy of, but that's not really for you to worry about, right? And so Mars is going to conjunct Mercury is your ruler, and Mercury's going to be in retrograde as well. So it's not like you'll have this sudden, you're not like you'll have this realization right in March. I think that over time, even during the end of, towards the end of the month, you're going to feel more intentional in the way that you're moving throughout life. I think you'll have sudden realizations after after Mercury goes direct, right? Because Mercury is your ruler, and you're going to want to speak honestly. You're going to want to be very intentional. Even the new moon in your seventh house, you're having discussions about what needs to be rewritten. Do we need to close this chapter of our lives? What is going on when it comes to this marriage, or when it comes to other people? And I do think that it is going to be rewritten in a very big way, just because Saturn just moved from the sign. You could have gotten married or something like that, or you could have made a long-term commitment to something, you know and Neptune just moved from this sign, so you start to really see what's for you and what's not for you. What have you been allowing yourself to be involved in, for a long period of time? Because it could have been a long time when you're involved in something and someone that just held potential, and that is not going to help you at the end of the day, right? So Venus is going to be in Aries, and this is your natal eighth house. And so Neptune is in there, Chiron is in there, and Saturn is in there. So at some point, there's going to be conjunctions in your eighth house. And so, you are healing these attachment patterns. And of course, by healing yourself, Virgo, because I feel like you must see your own self in the mirror and understand that you are honestly the lock and the key, and you have to have boundaries around your intimacy. You have to take emotional responsibility for your own self, and these are going to expose wounds about trust as well. You could be trying to control something so much that you realize you don't even trust it, or you realize that the emotions that you have had for something, maybe you just were dependent on someone else admiring you so much. That can happen, even when it comes to like intimacy, when it comes to debt, staying with someone because of some type of karmic debt or trauma bond that you have had with this person. And now it's time for you to finally let it go. You feel lighter. You feel like you can finally transform. Jupiter is going to go directly in natal 11th house. And so your dreams are moving, I think that it gains, of course, like momentum, but it also has a sense of wisdom behind it. The reason why you're doing these things, or you're following these dreams, or you're with and around it and surrounded by these people. March really forces you to prioritize yourself without guilt, without trauma responses, and your dreams are aligning a lot more. It's like you're regaining your sense of self, and you're regaining your sense of support, supporting yourself without having to support someone else. I think you're letting go of this shame and guilt around what you couldn't do, what you couldn't fix, and who you couldn't be, and who they aren't, and who people you expected other people to be. And you're now seeing that it isn't really about expecting from the next person. You cannot expect yourself from the next person. It's more about your being yourself, right? Of course, you want to do things perfectly, but being the imperfect, perfect version of yourself that allows more, allows better, allows different opportunities to meet them, and them to in you to go explore and really see that your life is not owned by another person. It's not owned by this act in service that you do for this person or these people around you. It is your life to live, Virgo. So yes, Virgo, there's a lot of realizations over the next 6 to 12 months, and this is it's very, very nice and beautiful for you to have these realizations, and you are truly blessed, Virgo. And even with K2 still in your sign, the South Node still in your sign, of course, there had to be karmic things that come up in order for you to release them. Things that you're used to, that South Node can bring. Wow, this is 9 minutes. Okay. Well, Virgo, that is all I have for you. This is a month that can be very pivotal for you. And so yes, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, Virgo. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See ya. What's up, Libra? So Libra, we're going to have a lunar eclipse in Virgo with it, which is in your natal 12th house. Something hidden is going to end. A subconscious pattern really dissolves for you. I think there's a lot of emotional release, and you can feel this way. You can have vivid dreams. You can feel very tired, very fatigued. There's a lot of things that are karmically trying to clear for you, whether it has to do with relational tests or it has to do with this subconscious purge. The month begins very quietly for you. I think that there's a lot happening behind the scenes that feel very private and quiet and internal. In order for this external you to be renewed, or um to bring clarity to your external world, Mars is going to enter into your natal sixth house, where things become more demanding. Mars is going to conjunct the north node at some point, and so this is destiny like service. You're doing things with an intention. With your responsibility can increase too, and your health becomes important. Like, things need your attention on a day-to-day basis. Moving on, but once again, this still feels very quiet, even though Mars is not quiet, right? It's charging forward, it wants to do what it needs to do. But we're talking about the sign of Pisces, so these are things that you're trying to handle within you in order for you to feel like you can breathe again. I will suggest breathing exercises for you. I will suggest doing things that involve letting go of something, writing and burning it, writing and flushing it down the toilet, writing and burying something, going out, talking to water. Water holds memory, or even listening to water. Libra, whatever type of spiritual practice you can get into that helps you let go and release is going to help you a lot during this time. Mercury is going to conjunct Mars at some point and this month, and of course there can be conversations that feel very stressful. Don't let anything stress you out, because you're not going to overextend yourself, Libra. Don't overextend yourself in order to make other people happy, because it feels like that can happen this month. There's going to be a new moon in the sixth house, and I think you're looking at things from a new and wider you know what perspective. I couldn't get this word, perspective, but you have a new beginning. And I think that you installing some type of practice and routine that is going to really allow you to be private with yourself, to take yourself out of the mix of things that are going on in the day-to-day world. Whoever is expecting and demanding your attention, and taking the time to yourself to really center yourself and to really ask yourself, what do you want? What are you doing with your activity? You need, Libra, every day of your life you need to do something for yourself. I don't care if you're taking 10 minutes to be within your own thoughts. I don't care if I take baths. So you're talking about Pisces, right? So you have to do something that involves water, that involves energetics, since this is the sixth house, that involves imagination, writing, speaking, dancing, all of the things that are creative. You have to do something creative on a day-to-day basis. Venus, which is your ruler, is going to enter into Aries, which is your sister sign, right? And this is going to be in your seventh house. So relationships are going to intensify for you. Neptune is in your seventh house now. That just conjunct well, we're in February, right? So it's going to conjunct Saturn at some point. And so Neptune is about the fantasy, and this in the seventh house can bring romantic fantasy. I know one person that has Neptune within their seventh house, and they really met a powerful person that they thought was an almighty god, right? And they really had to, but Saturn is in this house as well. So I think that that's like a blessing, because you're getting a reality check. Are they showing you that they have godlike tendencies? Are they showing you that they are who they say they are? Because they're talking about your seventh house being in Aries. Also, Chiron is in Aries, so this has some type of vulnerability. It is okay to once again let go of things that don't serve you, and don't be afraid that nothing is going to come in order for you to don't be afraid that the same lessons are going to repeat within people once you let someone go. You know, oh, I'll never find someone as beautiful and great as this, and no, no, no. Nope, that's Neptune delusion talking, or this illusion talking. You always, you know, especially with Saturn is going to give you, even Neptune, like, hey, what you have an imagination, create the person from thin air, right? But be true to yourself. This is Saturn. Have accountability, and Kyra, be as vulnerable as possible, because you know that some relationship can bring up past wounds. And if you can't meet someone maturely, or if someone can't meet you at a mature level, these are things that are going to become clear, right? So Jupiter is going to go direct in your 10th house. And so something is growing. I think that your image is growing. I think that where you're headed in life is growing. A lot of opportunities coming to you, Libra, and these are opportunities that are trying to bring you into different places and phases of your life. And you have to ask, you know, are these relationships holding me back? Are these family patterns holding me back? What is holding me back from making these great decisions? What have you learned in life? You know, Jupiter is what we're learning in life, and you know how we apply the wisdom. You have a lot of wisdom, you know, Libra, and you have to use it as something embodied, you know, not just like just knowledge in the air, right? You have to ask yourself, where are you over compromising for other people? Where are you over compromising for anything to keep the peace, to keep things flowing? Where are you sacrificing yourself on a day-to-day basis that needs to stop? And I think something is going to stop during this time, because you're going to grow in some type of way. And I'll say grow in some type of way, but I think something becomes very, very clear where you're like, I need to stop this right this second, and I need to spend an hour doing what I want to do on a day to day basis. And so, because you're going to do that daily over the next 6 to 12 months, your everything about you is going to enhance. You become more enlightened, more more self, what do you call that, like when you love yourself, right? You are more self-sufficient, you are more self-enlightened, self-embodied. And because you're doing all of these things, Libra, then the more healed version and more versions of you, of other people, those are going to start reflecting back to you. Because if you're mature and you have accountability, you have authority within yourself, you put up boundaries, other people in you're going to attract those type of people into your life, and it's going to feel very magical, very faded. And those are the type of relationships that you need to be in. But you have to heal, you have to acknowledge your subconscious patterns, you have to acknowledge where you're overextending yourself and you're giving too much. What are you over compromising to have to be? You know, hopefully it's not to be with another person that has you doing this over compromising. That isn't very fair. And you know, Libra talks about fairness and justice and authority and all of these great qualities that you have. So embody them now, Libra. Okay. And so that's all I have for you, Libra. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Libra. Hey there, Scorpio. So your March horoscopes. March is starting out with, there's an eclipse, right? There's Mars in another water sign, Mercury retrograde. But this month really has to do with a lot of passion, a lot of creativity, and even destiny is gonna feel, you can feel destiny through self-expression, through your creativity. You have a lot of fertile energy this month. Virgo, this eclipse is happening in your 11th house of groups and friendships and dreams and your long-term goals. There's a chapter that's going to end, and it has to end. You know, you're outgrowing these certain dynamics, whether it has to do with social people who are like, you know, you socialize with, whether it's outgrowing friends, whether it's outgrowing this dream or vision that you have had, and you just realize it's time for you to let it go, or it's time for you to transition into something more clearer, more aligned, more better. Mars is going to enter into Pisces, which is your natal 5th house. There's, you know, there's a lot of creative energy, you know, there's a lot of like intensity when it comes to romance, when it comes to children, when it comes to, you know, your self-expression. You're really driving yourself towards like, like joy, personal joy. You're really trying to figure out what in your imagination, or what brings you joy, that involves music and play, and even entertainment. Let's just say entertainment. What entertains you enough that you're willing to allow you to bring you joy? Mars in the seventh, Mars in the fifth house, can really have you very competitive, very competitive, you wanting to be better than someone else. It can have you very athletic, so definitely, because the fifth house is the house of sports. It's the house of getting up and moving yourself around. Let those things bring you joy. There's a new moon in your fifth house as well. So Mars is conjuncting the north node, so I think that you can meet someone significant. You can experience this creative like insight that is it's life changing. It's very life changing. You have to go deep within your subconscious, deep within your imagination, in order to bring this to light. It's almost like it just grazes across your mind, because Mercury is going to conjunct Mars as well. It grazes across your mind, and you think that it's so out of this world, actually, but it isn't. You could, if you're like a musician, if you're like someone who does things on a creative spectrum, you can do something that changes your life, something that is really faded, something that is significant for your growth, for your life, something that feels very intense. And also, you can be very flirtative during this time. You can someone can flirt with you. I think there can be conversations that are being had. There can be bold confessions that are being had, during this time. But anyway, you're more willing to entertain things that you're normally not willing to entertain. I think there's a lot of focus, in your fifth house, and because you're entertaining certain things, there's something that becomes unlocked for you that is definitely destiny driven. Remember, the fifth house has to do with dharma, and so these are things that are unfolding for your pleasure. I think your pleasure is being reset. There's a creative rebirth, and the way that you express yourself is being reset. Venus is going to be in Aries in your little sixth house, and so you know relationships on a day-to-day basis, whether it has to do with work, your routine, what you're doing, these are things that are trying to evolve for you. Saturn just entered this house, Neptune just entered this house, and Neptune can blur the lines between workplace attraction. You can think that you're, oh my god, I'm so in love with this person that I see on a day-to-day basis. Like you're going to, Saturn, let's say you go to the dentist, or you're going to work, and you just automatically feel this sexual attraction, or even any type of attraction to someone else. You can be attracted to their mind, you can be attracted to the way that they move their body. And ultimately, let's just be very clear. Venus in Aries can fall in love and out of love within like a week. So let's just be more honest about, let's keep integrity for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just sleep with everybody at the office. I'm just kidding, Scorpio. But don't just find like this there's really a magnificent sexual attraction to someone that you see on a day-to-day basis, and don't just give them yourself just because you find them cute and funny and all of the things. Definitely have integrity. Saturn is going to reward you if you have integrity. Definitely practice semen retention if you are a male, even if you are a female as well. Sexual attraction is a type of energy that can help you manifest. It can help you become more enlightened. You can do a lot with sexual energy, and if you're going to do that, you might as well try to do tantra during this time as well. But anyways, I got a little carried away. I think that's a little fun transit for you, Scorpio, and I know you'll find that very appealing just because you deal with a lot of sexual energy. And so Jupiter is going to go direct in your natal ninth house, and Jupiter has to do with travel. You know, Jupiter belonged to the ninth house, and so study, travel, you know, spiritual exploration, your life experiences, you know, these are things that are going to expand now because Jupiter is going direct. It kind of slowed down a little bit when Jupiter was in retrograde, and now you're choosing passion over control, over manipulation. I think passion is something that moves us. It moves our heart space. It moves our mind. You know, passion is very powerful too, and so we can't control passion in any type of way, even though we, you know, the ninth house has to do with our life experiences, has to do with our heart itself. Even though we want to experience passion and all of those things, we want to travel all the time, we want to do all of these things all the time, but what are we learning from these experiences? You must have your passion come, like there must be a reason for these things, and you have to understand what that reason is. You have to turn your knowledge into wisdom, Scorpio. And yes, that is what March is going to be bringing for you. And I think that's a very nice and pleasurable month for you. So yes, Scorpio, that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Scorpio. What's up, Sagittarius? March 2026. Can't believe we're already in March, right? It really just felt like we were at your solar return, and now it's March in a different year. Time is an illusion. Like, can we all agree that they have exaggerated time? So, Sagittarius, we have a Virgo eclipse in your natal 10th house. Something is going to end up here, whether it's a role, whether it's an obligation, whether it is a reputation that can change for you. I think that there's some dynamic that is going to shift for you, and I do think this is very beneficial for you. You know, you are there's a lot of tension within your fourth house, right? Home restructuring, there can be a climax, you know, in the way that your life is heading, but I think you're building a more authentic version of yourself because Jupiter, which is your ruler, was in retrograde, right? And it's gonna go direct this month. So, you know, Jupiter had you going over a lot of, and it's also in an exalted sign. So Jupiter could have had you going over a lot of things internally in order, you know, in order to externally have some type of growth or realizations, right? Or exploration. I think that, you know, this month can really close a chapter on who you thought that you were, whether it's professionally, whether it is any type of dynamic that you thought that you were, whether it's at home, because Mars is actually going to be in um Pisces, right? Is uh Jupiter is the secondary ruler of Pisces, and so Mars entering into Pisces in your natal fourth house, there's a lot of tension within the home, and I think that there could be a lot of arguments as well, especially with Mars conjuncting. Like, all of these things have to happen. These karmic family themes have to play out in order for, like, they're very necessary, you know, when it comes to like your emotional growth, when it comes to confronting things that you have tried to hide or other people have tried to hide from you. You know, there's also going to be a new moon in this house as well, and so there's going to be a chapter that begins, whether it's a move, whether it's this emotional reset. Hopefully it's those things, right? Moving in an emotional reset, you know, whether, you know, you're moving to a different country, you know, whether you're moving somewhere that feels more like home, that feels more, whether you're moving alone, you know, things that feel more like, hey, I need to reinvent myself, so I need to take myself out of this space and out of this setting and environment in order to, you know, adapt to a certain type of growth. Venus is going to enter into Aries in your natal fifth house. Venus in the fifth house, I love this. There's so much inspiration, you know, when it comes to your creativity, when it comes to the people that you meet, when it comes to dating. If you want to get out there and go see what's out there in the mix, Sagittarius, this is a time for you to do that. You have a lot of romantic spark. I will suggest that you try to meet people where you want to meet people. Let's say that you love plant-based food like I do. You want to go to a plant-based restaurant, right? You want to go to a farm, you want to meet, you want to go to what do you call it, what do you call those things, places where they cook food that is that is plant-based. Those type of environments, places where they grow their own plants, where they grow their own crops. Like a farmer's market, excuse me. Yes, a farmer's market, like those type of things, and you can meet somebody picking out the right type of squash. Like, there's a nice spark that Venus brings in the fifth house. And remember, Venus is in Aries as well. So hey, it becomes to feel like this is about me. This is about Venus and Aries, and falls in and out of love very quickly. And so you have to make this about you, because Neptune and Saturn are also in your fifth house, and they can idolize a lover, they can idolize things. Saturn wants you to be mature about these things. Okay, like, we're not going to be in love every single second of our life, and if we are, that can help us with our creativity. We don't always have to run on things that we love. We can be inspired by people and understand how they move, because love is the answer, as I always say. But you don't have to act on every type of romance that meets the eye, right? Things have to be real, they have to be stable, right? There's things that are long term that you have to be mindful of, right? And so Jupiter also is going to go direct towards the end of the month in your natal eighth house. And so a lot of things are going to ease for you, whether it has to do with debt, whether it has to do with financial support. These things are going to improve. This month is reshaping your foundation so that your ambitions can grow safely. And wherever you're headed, with this lunar eclipse in the natal 10th house, Sagittarius, is more it's more freedom. Like, you're headed towards more freedom, more liberation. And you need to show people who you truly are. And that is the thing here, Sagittarius. Enough holding back and doing things that other people want you to do. Or Virgo, as your 10th house, you can be servicing people in the way that they need, but you have grown so much, so it's like, okay, now I need to service other people in the way that they need. It's like, still, you know there's a lot of examples I can use. I think that you kind of understand what I'm saying. Meet people at the level that you're at, not at the level that they're at, Sagittarius. So yes, I hope that was helpful, Sagittarius. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Sagittarius. Hey there, Capricorn. So Capricorn, this month, well, happy March, right? But this month has to do a lot with your systems in belief. Even it can do educational systems, these emotional matters that you may have, relational expansion, your voice, your truth, systems that have to do with truth and honestly exposure. I think that you're being exposed to different truths that make you shift the way that you actually see the world. Things are breaking down. Your ruler Saturn just moved to a different sign, and this sign of Aries. And Aries, we're going into Aries season as well. So Aries has a powerful stellium that's going to be building up as this month goes on. And your ruler being in Aries, it isn't really comfortable. It deals with being impulsive, just jumping and doing things that it doesn't actually have to do, just going off of impulse instead of going off of strategy. And you're used to going off of strategy, Capricorn. And so these things shift your worldview. They shift how you see things. Mars is going to be in Pisces in your natal third house, and communication becomes a focus. It can intensify. You can speak with more within your voice. You can have more bass within your voice even as well. You're going to have Mars conjuncting the north node in Pisces in your natal third house. And so here's conversations that are being had that feel like these are conversations that need to be had. There feels like there's a message in everything, a message in every conversation, a message in every action. There can be a lot of sharp words as well. You must be precise with the way that you speak. We know that Mercury is going to be in retrograde until March 20th, which is the end of the month. So Mercury's in retrograde in the house of Mercury in Pisces, which it doesn't really even like. So be very mindful of what you're saying, what you're doing, and I would honestly say what you're saying and how you're receiving what other people are saying. It can feel like an attack. It can feel like every word that someone says, it sparks this wound or this sense of needing to heal from something. You could be speaking in circles as well. You're not getting to the point, Capricorn. But, as the time goes on, when Mercury goes direct in Pisces, I think that people will start to see where you're actually coming from, what you're actually saying. The third house, you're going to be a new moon in the third house. You can adopt a new way of speech, a new way of talking, a new way of communicating with someone else. You can be an artistic, like, hey, let me just give you a song, or let me just draw out this picture for you, or do something that is very creative in order for you to understand what I'm saying. Maybe you'll get it now. You are very, this is a chapter that is beginning for you, that's really uh intent on the way that you're communicating with others, the way that your mind is communicating ideas or thoughts or in things of that nature. The third house has to do with aunts and uncles. It has to do with cars and trains and some type of transportation, right? So you could be traveling to talk to someone. You could be traveling and going to a show, or you could see something online, because third house actually is media as well, and it sparks something that brings clarity to your mind. But maybe it's really difficult to communicate before March 20th, and that's okay. That is a-okay, because after March 20th, I think that you'll have a better way of communicating your ideas to other people, Capricorn, because they're ultimately, we're talking about Pisces. They're out of this world. Things people really can't understand if they're not paying attention, to what you're saying, or they don't have that vast mind that is going in this world and out of worlds in order to collect communication, in order to collect ideas and thoughts. So yes. And then Venus is going to be in your fourth house of Aries. And so Saturn is in that house, as well as Neptune, and family healing is going to be required. I think that it comes in a very healing way, definitely healing, definitely wanting to join and bring forces together. Neptune is revealing a fantasy that can be played out within family expectations. Saturn is really the grounding dynamic within this whole factor. Like, I want to talk to someone mature. You want to connect with someone who is mature. I think that people are going to mature. Even you're Capricorn. You're very mature, but I think you're going to be very mature when it comes to taking accountability and to taking responsibility, and even having that line of respect towards your family members in order to get to the bottom of something. I think you have a lot more patience, when it comes to communicating and finding a peaceful ground, finding fairness within your family dynamics, and understanding anger, or understanding people being impulsive, or other people's point of view, or why they do things. Saturn is your ruler, and is playing a part within your fourth house, as I said. But yes, Jupiter is actually going to go direct in your natal seventh house, and so there could have been a lot of people that's coming up that have been in and out of your life. You have met more people, and they've taught you a lot. It could have been more feminine figures. It could have been more children that teach you something. It could be your own mother that has taught you something, like a life lesson that you've learned from childhood, and it's now just connecting to you in some type of way, Capricorn. But the seventh house is the relationship house. It's a relationship that we have to other people, and so there's growth in this area of your life. Mars is trying to, not Mars, March is trying to empower your voice, empower the way that you are communicating with other people, so that they understand you, but most importantly, so that you understand yourself. When we speak, we sometimes say things, we're like, oh, I could use that. I swear, I do it all the time. I say stuff and I'm like, oh, I can use this advice for myself. I should be using this advice for myself. How am I telling somebody else to do this, and I should be doing this as well? But there's a level of maturity and level of self-awareness that you must have for yourself in order to even have those conversations with yourself. And that's the type of relationship that you want to have with yourself. It's called self-encouragement, self-enlightenment. This is a golden thing, honestly, that Jupiter teaches you. You can learn from other people teach you a lot of things, but they teach you things about yourself, and that is that is a real goal in life, to learn, to grow, to exceed expectations, to break free from limitations that you have put upon yourself, right, Capricorn? And so yes, that's all I have. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, Capricorn. Hey Aquarius, so we just had an eclipse in your sign. So we're still in eclipse season. March is bringing an eclipse in your natal 8th house. Like when does the transformation happen? When is it end? When does it begin? You know, you're going through a lot of transformative experience, Aquarius, but I think this is because you are the new blueprint of the new world, the new era. You know, you are really helping us march forward into this new version of humanity. I think that the consciousness of the world is changing, and this is because of you. This is because of your faith in humanity, your faith within the goodness of the world, or how the world can change in some type of way. So the theme for this month has to do with this emotional independence, and as well as this financial autonomy, because there's a Virgo eclipse in your 8th house, as I said, and this has to do with loans, this has to do with tax debts, this has to do with shared resources, this has to do with, you know, trauma, this has to do with bonding with the next person, you know, vulnerability, the things that we want to hide but we can't, especially if we want to connect with someone else, right? And so there's a lot of entanglement that is going to shift for you, and whether like I said, it's all of the things that I just named. There's a lot of ties that want to end for you in the 8th house, and I think that is connecting with people ultimately bring you pain, sorrow, and agony, and starting to release these things and let these things go, and let the lesson be the lesson, Aquarius. Let the lesson teach you instead of holding you back. Mars is going to enter into Pisces, and Mars in Pisces, you know, this is your natal 2nd house, right? So you're pushing aggressively towards this financial security. You're pushing aggressively towards honoring yourself, believing in yourself. You're cutting the lines of like, you know, of course you have confidence, you're trying to believe in yourself, you're trying to move forward, you're doing this, right? But Mars feels uncomfortable in Pisces, because it's like this, you know, you can delude yourself so much. Do you actually have real faith in yourself? Aquarius, you must ask yourself, do you have real belief in yourself? Do you know that you can do things without, do you know that you can move yourself forward without programming yourself to something like a lie? You have to hold yourself accountable for everything in life, right? It's Pluto's teaching you in that your sign now, but you can be very delusional. I really suggest, yes, being delusional when it comes going towards your goals, but when it comes to having real self-worth, real value, real systems in place that display morals, you must have real integrity. You must have real integrity. And obviously with Saturn being in your 2nd house, as well Neptune was in your 2nd house, you have real integrity. You must remember that as Neptune and Saturn is moving away. And you know, you are, because at some point Mars is going to conjunct the North Node, and so there can be this move that you make that feels very destined when it comes to your income, that feels very destined when it comes to increasing the way that you feel about yourself in order to make some type of income. Mars is going to conjunct Mercury as well, and there can be conversations that have to do with money awareness, that have to do with you know, financial stability, your resources, what you can accumulate in this world. There's a lot of conversations about that as well, because there's a new moon as well. There's a lot of focus in your 2nd house, you know, Aquarius. Like, you really have to think outside the box. You can't think like everyone else when it comes to having faith within that dream that is going to make you income, you know. And even, you know, even something could have stabilized with, you know, Saturn just being in this house. You know, something could have stabilized to where you have solidified a new income stream in some type of way. So congratulations, you have cracked the code. Venus is going to, and remember that Saturn is your secondary ruler as well, so this effects of Saturn, you know, it changes you as well. You know, it wants you to be more mature too. You know, it strengthens you. So Venus is, as I said, entering into Aries, and this is your 3rd house, and so you're having conversations that bring you bring your mind, at ease. It brings your mind healing. I think that healing comes through conversation, and healing comes through, acknowledgement of the self. Hey, you must actually use, hey, I love myself. I am confident. I am happy with the way that I am. I love my body. You have to really put in affirmations that affirm you love who you are. Um, this is very powerful. You really want to use your own voice to heal yourself. Aquarius. Jupiter is going to go direct in your natal sixth house, and this has to do with your home, not your home, but this has to do with your day-to-day activity, right? Your routines that you're doing. It has to do with control. It has to do with trying to control what's going on in a day, or just being over vibing in a day, and now you're over compromising on a day-to-day basis. You're giving everything away, and now this is when Jupiter goes direct, you see, hey, I can't override like that, because now I'm giving out all of my energetics, and what is left for me at the end of the day. And because Capricorn, because Jupiter is in an exalted sign, which is Cancer, it honestly doesn't feel as heavy as I'm speaking, but it can feel like that. Hey, I've given so much to my family, to my home, to my mother, to everyone else who needed something of me. And you can even have picked up a job in, like, what is that called when you take care of the elderly, like home care, and you're taking care of all of these people. And even when Jupiter entered, you see yourself now, you're taking care of all of these people. But you have to take care of yourself. Follow your intuition, follow that inner guide when it comes to your day-to-day activity. You are building something stable that has to do with your finances, that has to do with moving yourself in a different direction. I think that your direction has pivoted many, many times, but I think that you have solidified something real, something tangible in this world, and you must continuously build towards that. You are, like I said, leading us into this new world and humanity, and we need Aquarius rising. We need the authenticity. We need a reminder that we need to be ourselves. We need a reminder that we're not always in performance. I don't always have to perform for you. Like, I can be myself and still I can show up as myself and still be honored, be supported, be loved, be have integrity for myself. I don't always have to be on this acting, thing that people like to be on a day-to-day basis. It's like, you go to work every single day and see the same people, and they say the same thing. Like, we know that you're not good. Why do you keep saying, I'm good, everything is good, the kids are good? No, they're not. They're bad. Okay. They're bad. They talk back. They're very disrespectful. But hey, what can we do to improve that? If we actually have real conversations, we'll see that the world actually really needs to change. And I think that, Aquarius, you see that on a day-to-day basis. You hear that, and you're making it happen. Whether you believe it or not, you're definitely building some type of sovereignty around yourself. Okay, and so that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, Aquarius, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya. Hey there, Pisces. Oh, wow. It's almost your season. It's almost the solar return. It is almost, Venus isn't, there's just so much going on in Pisces. A new moon in Pisces. I'm very excited for the season. So happy solar return. Happy birthday. Happy days. Happy ways. Happy everything to you, Pisces. I love you because I love myself. So I love all of you. And the love that Venus is in Pisces right now. So the love that I have for everyone is just so internal. It's like I can literally heal the world with my love right now. And so having Venus in your sign, having all of these planets shifting from your sign into the next sign, into the beginning, like Pisces is the end, and now here's this new beginning for you, Pisces. Your birthday is coming up. You are just new. And this newness is much needed. You know what I'm saying? There's so much initiation toward turning. There's a turning point. There's just energy that is returned to you. You are no longer passive. You have a backbone. We know how to say no now, Pisces. No. And that's literally, that's the answer. The answer is no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to. And I'm not going to spiritualize it to make it sound like I should have. No. And so Saturn has taught us a lot, right? And Saturn is leaving from your sign. So Like, kudos to you, we made it. Because Saturn, I saw a comment where it's so funny. It was like, Saturn in Pisces is like no daddy, yeah, it said no daddy. But then Saturn moving into Pisces, I mean Saturn moving into Aries, it's like, I am daddy. Like, you're learning that I am what I say that I am. And this is really your month. Like, this is your time to shine. Like, there's things that don't make sense are going to start to make sense. And I don't even feel like I just made sense after everything I just said. But that's because Mercury is going into retrograde in your sign, in my sign as well. And so that didn't really make sense. But I feel like you understand me, Pisces. So let's get started. Like I said, this is your month, you know. So happy everything to you. Really show up. Show up for yourself. Everything is going to go right this season. Yes. Can I get an amen? Can I get an a woman? So Mars is going to conjunct North Node, which is in your sign. You are activated. You are moving forward. There is a decision that you make that is now shifting your trajectory of your life. Ashe. Like, there is so much happening for you, especially in your seventh house. Now you have the Virgo eclipse happening. This is a lunar eclipse. And so relationships, they're going to take a turning point for you. There can be you are redefining certain things. You are maybe getting married, right? You could be ending a marriage. You can be thinking about your commitment, right? You cannot remain unclear about what you are committed to and who you are committed to. There's a lot of things that are happening with other people as well, but there's so many great things happening within yourself. So it's like other people, they can't overshadow what you want anymore in the direction that you're headed in anymore. Saturn, like I said, has taught you to go from no daddy to I am daddy. I am that I am. And you have always been I am that I am. And I'm so happy that now we have a backbone. I mean, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm so happy. I just want to tell everybody, no, get away from me. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. And so the sun is going to conjunct Mercury, which is in your sign. So now you're speaking your truth. You're living your truth. You're feeling like, hey, I should have been living this way for so long. But remember, Mercury is going to be in retrograde. It's going to go out of retrograde on March 20th. So after that time, you know what you're saying. You know where you're going. You know what you just know. You know in thyself, which is a beautiful thing. You're also going to have a new moon in your sign at the later degree. I have Pisces within my later degree. So definitely look for your degree. Look for all of the points that you may have in water in your moon sign. But the first house, Pisces, this is a personal rebirth, and this is very personal for Pisces. This is very, very personal. You have kind of go through a lot of, you could have, Saturn in your sign, Neptune in your sign. There's just a lot of things that you are now clearing from. Like, you are honestly being blessed now. Take all the blessings I should have got back then. Okay, I'll take them now. It comes with maturity. It comes with knowing, excuse me, I was getting a call, but it comes with knowing who you are. This is when the blessings actually come, knowing what you're connecting to. There is this renewal that must have within your ego, within your identity, that needs to shift in order for you to experience this rebirth. Ego is not always something that we should be running around with, right? But it is something that gives us a backbone. You should feel something about yourself to be ego tied. Like, the ego is your friend. Actually, it's something you should see eye to eye. You don't always have to have an ego, but you should have an ego when it comes to having boundaries on yourself, giving your energy to people who don't even need you in their face. Venus is going to move from your sign into your second house in Aries, attracting financial abundance. This is attracting financial discipline as well, because Saturn is there, Neptune is there. So Neptune is asking you to spend, because, hey, we have this dream. It's time to buy it, right? And so Saturn is actually demanding you be mature about it. Hey, maybe you need to save money. And I will suggest, with Saturn moving into second house, you need to save. You need to think about where you're spending. I don't think that you should be so, like holding on to your money, but there is some type of limit that Saturn is having within the second house, because it's saving for something greater. It's saving for a rainy day. So let that be in the back of your mind. Financial abundance is very, very beautiful, but ultimately we cannot buy our way into feeling good about ourselves. And because you already feel good about yourself, it's not going to leave. Like, do not fast, okay? Do not fuss or anything like that. You are going to have real self-worth within yourself, and let it keep building you up over time, Pisces. Okay? And Jupiter, which is your secondary ruler, So Neptune just shift into another sign, into Aries, right? And that's your ruler as well. And then Jupiter is going direct in your natal fifth house. So there's a lot changing for you, but I think that there's an upgrade. There's like you're growing. There's a growth spurt. There's a growth spurt, whether it's uncomfortable or not, depending on your points and placements and things of that nature, and signs and degrees, all of the different things, right? But Jupiter going direct in your natal fifth house, joy is returning. Like, like I'm so happy about this because I'm a person that just likes being happy. I like to laugh, I like to joke, I like to play, I like entertainment. Okay, I'm a Leo, it can come from that as well. But fertility, joy, creativity, these things expand. You're becoming more creative, more expensive, more, wanting to go out and experience the world. I know that I'm like, hey, I want to have fun now. I don't know, like these past couple of months I'm like, why does everything feel so serious? Like it feels like, why life is life really that serious? Not really. Life is but a dream. So saying all that, I think that this month is permanently altering how you show up in this world, how you are showing up for yourself, how you showing up in this world, how you showing up for others. You are just a diamond in the rough, Pisces. I think that you are really, you've been overlooked for so long, but there's nothing that you can overlook about yourself now. Because of this shift, these mini shifts that you're having, you are starting to see that you are, your soul is beautiful, and everything that is outside of you, you have to build everything from that, from the inside. Okay, build it from the inside out. You feel like yourself in the inside, sooner or later on the outside it's going to be reflected. So yes, Pisces, that is all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Pisces.